Cosplay Stitch and Seam. I'm Pannon.
I'm B-Fire.
And I'm David. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi. How's it going?
Oh,
We're here.
Making do, being jealous that I didn't get to go to this Dragonsteel.
Oh,
I have so
Nice.
much to say on it.
nice. Well, I'm excited to hear about V-Fire's adventures. But first, for our listeners, if you guys would like to let us know what cons you're going to, let us know what you've been up to, send us horror stories, any of those things, you can reach out to us at cosplaystitchandseam@gmail.com or
Or you can go to the website, cosplaystitchandseam.com, and fill out our forms there, or
Go to the Facebook page.
Rio.
And while you're there, let us know what you're working on. Join our fantastic community who wants to see what you're working on. We have a work in progress Wednesdays. We have our finish Fridays. We have our throwback Thursdays. We have days where you can just share what you're working on. We love to see it every single dang time. If you're not a big fan of Facebook, we totally get it. We do have on our website a link to our Discord server where we always have people talking about what they're working on. As of this recording, I have been posting almost every single day my NaNoWriMo progress,
Woohoo.
so I know it's not cosplay related, but it's still progress, and I'm proud.
Dang.
And while you're on the internet, go and you want to help out the show, there are so many different ways that you can do that. Leave us a review on any of your apps that let you. Tell a friend. Follow us on social media. Or if you have a few bucks lying around, we do have a coffee, KOFI Cosplay Stitch, and a Patreon, patreon.com/Cosplay Stitch. For $3 a month, we give you a shout out on the show every single month. And for $5 a month, you can join our Cosplay Chronicles.
Woohoo.
In that, it's a live D&D game where we play in a cosplay-themed Dungeons & Dragons world, and it's a lot of fun. It's really silly, and I am always just so impressed with what everyone's doing. It's such a great time. I never walk away going, well, that was okay. It's always like, that was a great game.
the latest one was like one of my favorites. I
Yeah,
say
it was
that
good.
every time, though. I just come out of those always so pleased.
Helps that we have an awesome DM.
Aw,
Yes.
shucks.
He's able to deal with our shenanigans.
Well, if you guys want to support a fellow cosplayer with some great makeup out there, you can go to foxbeauty.store and check out some amazing products, lip colors, glosses, and new eyeshadows that are also D&D themed. Again, that's foxbeauty.store. Use the promo code Stitch and Seam to get 10% off your purchase of all vegan, not tested on animal products. Woo!
Woohoo!
Okay, now tell us what is this con you guys are talking about?
All right.
And also
So-
introduce our guest.
Yes, we have a guest on here. So I am part of a book club, and I try to get them all on here, but our third person is very, very introverted. But Sadie's here.
Yay,
Hello,
Sadie.
everyone.
Yeah.
So glad to have you.
So Dragonsteel is super stinking dope. This is their second year running it. I don't know. Sadie, you describe what Dragonsteel is. My brain just suddenly was like, and the overstimulation's going to come back.
Me, who actually had a 5-day con instead of a 2-day con
Oh,
like the rest
goodness.
of y'all.
Yeah.
In addition to being a big Brandon Sanderson and Cosmere nerd, I am also a Magic the Gathering nerd, and they just coincide in the same place. So that's
so
my
much
life. It was, and it was. I had such highs and such lows because there was some. I have a horror story for you. But anyways, so Dragonsteel Con came about because Brandon Sanderson is a really well-known author. He's really famous for his Cosmere work, and then finishing up The Wheel of Time. And he used to do like a book release for the book in the fall that he would publish. And he used to do it at his local bookstore. And then thousands of people just started showing up. So
Ooh.
it's a lot for the BYU bookstore to handle. And apparently some of his staff went to him and said, hey, you should just make your own con, because if you don't, someone else is going to do it for you. So they did. So now his big fall book release, because this man is crazy, and I swear he has like a writing clone or something, because he publishes multiple books a year.
He
and some of them
accidentally wrote 4 books.
Oh yeah, he accidentally wrote 4 books and made the biggest Kickstarter of all time. Like, this man is insane. But he writes great stuff. So anyways, he and his team at Dragonsteel invented a con for his book release called Dragonsteel Con. Last year, it was I'm told by the people who attended, last year was maybe half of the size. It did grow a lot. They were planning on 2,000-ish people originally, and then they had to open up more tickets and get more space because a ton more people wanted to come. So I'd probably say there's maybe 5,000 people this time around. It is a quickly growing con and surprisingly well ran. I've been to a lot of cons in my day, and this one was really fun. So we'll go into some of that.
This has been my favorite convention ever. I'm just quickly throwing that out there. This is, again,
Wow, that's impressive. You've been to a lot of cons. I was going to ask, like, first off, like, what sets this con apart from other cons? Like, what's the vibe? How does it feel? Like, what can you do there?
So,
I got this one.
Okay.
I'm taking over, Sadie.
Not allowed.
So while there's a ton of like Brandon Sanderson themed stuff at this event, there's other authors there too that he brings in, smaller authors too, like Dan Wells was there too, where he promotes those authors and artists like crazy. If they've had art in any of his books, they were there, it seemed like. And just, it's really cool just how much he tries to support growing authors. And like there were writing panels, there were theory panels, there were all sorts of different things. And again, it was very like the book that was releasing was The Lost Metal, which is the 4th book of the Era 2 Mistborn books. So book 7 overall in those. And just everything was like Mistborn themed for the event, but there were still like all these other things that you could find in there, and just it was really fun.
Yeah, the vibe is very much a literature convention. So locally in Utah, that would be very similar to like the Life, the Universe, and Everything symposium that they have in the spring. So it's got that kind of vibe. So lots of book stuff. It does have a really healthy cosplay community, which I was super surprised on, but I saw a lot of like characters from the book that was being released, but also some of the older books and some of the somewhat related books. His literature is a little difficult to discuss without diving in the deep end sometimes, but a lot of really cool cosplays there as well. So
nice, that's awesome. So I hear you got to interview some folks there. Do you want to give us some setup for that?
Absolutely. We, like, as soon as I walked in, I started seeing everybody. I was like, I know what kind of episode I want to do. Because there were so many Mistcloaks walking around, and Mistcloaks they can be really easy or really difficult to make, depending on what kind of look you're going for with them. And, like, you know, if you're trying to make it absolutely book accurate, like even Brandon Sanderson's been like, that's like really difficult.
Like, good luck.
Yeah. To like, we even interviewed like a group where they're like, yeah, we bought these off of Amazon. And we're like, what? You can do that?
I want to cheat next year and just be like, I'm just going to buy one off of Amazon.
That's a great idea.
Really
like, that's
looking.
awesome.
Yeah. And they're pretty good looking too. But like, it was just really fascinating. So I was like, you know what this episode's going to be? Let's see how many different ways you can make a Mistcloak.
Yeah, and they're all kind of accurate in their own way. It's kind of fun with a literature convention versus a video game or anime convention, because a lot of that doesn't necessarily have official art, or the art for it that is official is very limited. So you don't always have a lot to go on besides book descriptions, and you can let your imagination sometimes run wild with those book descriptions, which makes for some really fun and different looking cosplays that all are the same character or the same concept.
That's awesome. Well, let's hear who you talked to.
Hello, guys. Welcome to the Cosplay Stitch and Seam. I'm V-Fire, and I'm actually here with my book club today. So I am at Dragonsteel, which is super dope. If you have not heard of Dragonsteel, it's essentially the author, Brandon Sanderson, was like, everybody likes my book so much, I'm going to make a whole convention around it. And I'm like, yes, that's a very smart thing to do. I love this. So, yeah, we are at this awesome book convention. He's not the only one here. There's also, like, Dan Wells is here. Which other authors are here? I had a list. Jancy Patterson.
And a lot of the artists who help contribute to cover art, and a lot of the other people associated with Dragonsteel, such as the folks, the minis. So it's a really good gathering of people. Oh, by the way, this is Sadie, guys.
Yeah, I got Sadie here. Sadie's part of my book club, and
You've got Megan.
Megan's also part of the book club. Yeah, book club buddies. Yeah, so we usually like read just like a bunch of really fun books and stuff, and then we like meet up at a restaurant and talk about it, and it's super fun. Normal book club stuff. Yeah. So while we're here at Dragonsteel, the biggest thing that comes up. So Mistborn is probably like one of the most popular series that Brandon Sanderson has, and the Mistcloaks from the series are everywhere. Like everywhere we've been walking, there's just been flowing Mistcloaks, and it's just been super magical. So I decided this theme for this episode is going to be the various ways to make a Mistcloak, and we're going to ask all the cosplayers that we find how they made theirs, what materials they chose, and whatnot. So the description for it, I'm going to have Megan read it. What is the description of a Mistcloak?
A Mistcloak is a cloak worn by Mistborn on Scadrial while traveling through the mist in order to obscure their figure and so prevent them from being seen. During the era of the Final Empire, it is generally a hooded garment made from a lightweight material that consists of a ribbon-like strip of dark gray cloth sewn together at the shoulders and chest. Mistcloaks are constructed to come free when pulled so that they cannot be used against the wearer in combat. Each Mistcloak is made or commissioned by the Mistborn, so there's a lot of variation in the designs regarding the presence of sleeves or a hood, where the cloak begins to split into strips, and whether the strips are interwoven or layered.
Awesome. And in later eras, too, there's also, like, Mistcloaks that are, like, part of a duster. Yeah.
Very Western.
Yes, very Western. And then Brandon Sanderson actually has his, like, own more in-depth, like, how could this come into the reality description of it? And I'm going to have Sadie read that one.
Okay, just to give you a little preference, a Mistcloak is kind of a difficult thing to make because of how it is supposed to flow in the wind, yet still be able to flare out when they're twin swirling.
Yeah.
But
so
here's what he quoted. A Mistcloak would be hard to get right. I've seen several people try, and they never quite feel right to me. Maybe they're one of those things that are of my work in my imagination, but not in the real world. What I'm looking for is something that is enveloping, something that's grand, but also more lightweight than most of the ones that people have made. I know Vin describes hers as heavy, but that's all relative.
Vin's small.
She is very small. She is small but strong.
Small but strong. He actually goes on to describe some different materials as well. So I'm gonna read that part. My turn. Well, you lost the quote.
I did.
Oh, how dare! How dare, Sadie?
Claps or David? No.
David. Wow,
David,
his
wow.
name's not Daniel. Wow. Wow. And now we're gonna. Oh no. Okay. David, you got to cut out Sadie cussing, but leaving her messing up your name. Sadie. Okay. So he says best answer to questions on how a Mistcloak is made. He says colors. All the same shade of a dark charcoal gray. How wide are the strips? Between 1/2 inch and 1 inch wide. Material. Cotton, perhaps, lighter than canvas or wool for certain. However, I do imagine each tassel being sewn individually, perhaps with a thicker back and an inside that is something softer and lightweight. Are all the tassels the same length? No, but close, within 1 inch or 2 of one another. Do they drag? No, they're cut so they obscure the feet, but don't drag. And how many layers of tassels? And he says 1.5. The real trick, I think, to making one work would be to, in my opinion, make a cloak which looks cool on its own, then slit the bottom 2/3 up to about the rib cage area, sew these into tassels, then sew some more tassels to the inside. Then perhaps work with the shoulders, inner layers to make the cloak fall down so it looks enveloping and the sides can fall straight. And that's the full quote from Brandon Sanderson. So definitely sounds like a challenge. And there's a lot of really great, like, different kinds of Mistcloaks that are around. What are your opinions on Mistcloaks? Like, what they should be like, Megan?
Well, I think they should definitely lend an air of mystery. They're meant to obscure the wearer as they jump through the mist. But also, interestingly enough, at these conventions, the Mistcloaks are definitely standing out. So it's kind of a catch-22 on there. I think we're going to have really good discussions with everyone we ask about them, because I guarantee no two people made them the exact same way.
Except for when they're in a group and they all have the same... No, I'm just kidding.
You can definitely tell which groups have like one seamstress who made all of the Mistcloaks, because they do actually kind of match with each other.
It's kind of nice. It's consistent.
Yeah, but that's the only consistency. Each group seems to have tackled it a different way, and they all look amazing. But
I saw one earlier that was a hoodie, which is like made out of hoodie material, which is like, that's so clever. It's so stinking cold outside.
maybe that's what will be in Era 3.
Oh. All right. So, yeah, we're going to start exploring and interviewing cosplayers. So stay tuned for that. Thanks, guys. All right. I am here with...
Peter Alstrom.
Which I had to be surprised about. So tell us about yourself, Peter.
I'm the vice president of Dragonsteel, Brandon's company. I'm the head of the editorial department.
I was just like, I really love this cosplay. And Sadie started laughing at me. And I was like, why are you laughing? It's because this guy's super awesome. Okay. Also, your Mistcloak is very, very cool. Will you describe like what materials are in it? And
I can describe some of that. This is the Alamancer Jack cosplay that I actually wore it for the release of Alloy of Law in 2011,
sweet.
And it still fits.
Hey.
Yes. So the ribbons. Well,
Yeah, they're ribbons.
what are they called? I mean, some of them are actual ribbon.
Oh, you got
Anyway.
ribbons and strips of fabric.
Yes, ribbons and strips of fabric are what make the ribbons of this coat. It was made by my wife Karen and her mom Rebecca. They worked on various different parts of the outfit. Like we studied the illustration of Alamancer Jack from the original Alloy of Law broadsheet, looked at every single line on it and said, what could this line be?
Oh.
And so they chose like the corduroy on the pants and the tweed of the
Vest?
that is tweed, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I think it's technically a waistcoat.
Biscuit. Oh.
Yes. So, and then there's the cravat also. I'm not sure what this is. The cravat is. It's green because I like green.
Oh, perfect. There we go.
Yes.
Green's a great color. It's my
And
favorite.
there's also the pocket watch is down here. Well, I mean it's
Oh,
it's
wow.
well, it's actually it's just a pocket watch that.
But it's pretty.
Yeah. Alamancer Jack does not actually know what a motorcycle is, which is decorating this pocket watch, but
Yet.
yes, not yet. And then the gloves, they sewed this fringe on the gloves to look exactly like it does in the
Give that perfectly
Yep.
Western kind of look with it. I
Yep.
love it.
And then they made these tassels for the pocket.
Neat.
Also, there's a the symbol here. This is the symbol for tin.
Oh.
And Alamancer Jack is a tin eye. His belt buckle was actually fixed. So the belt buckle here has the symbol for tin, whereas in the original it's something else.
Oh. Whoops.
Additionally,
Oh.
this Alamancer Jack's pistol is named Glint.
It's very glinty.
Yes. And
I love that.
This is actually a
Beautiful.
this is actually a pirate pistol that was got from a thrift store. Yes.
It's perfectly glinty though.
This they made the holster here and this belt with the bullets in it. We actually have fake bullets, but my my father-in-law, he's aluminum bullet. out of aluminum in his garage because he loves making.
That's so cool.
They're just solid aluminum. There's no actual gunpowder involved. But the boots are not very comfortable.
This is amazing. I love it. So I've been asking everybody what their favorite book from Brandon has been.
The next one. Always the next one.
Always the next one. I love that. Awesome. And then I actually haven't asked anybody this yet. We end each of our podcasts with like a cosplay horror story where like, you know, I almost cut my not my hand, but my thumb off once. Have had mishaps where like parts of a costume fell apart like right before going on stage, things like that. Have you ever had a cosplay story happen?
Not. So my wife and I dressed up of episode 3 of Star Wars.
Oh.
Our entire church congregation was going to midnight release, and we got everything ready. Fell asleep on the couch.
Oh no!
And then I looked at my. I woke up. We had the lights on and everything. I woke up and it was after midnight. We were able to get there to the 1 o'clock showing, but we were rushing and I was trying to put my boots on. And those were different boots and they did not fit very well. And we were running up to the theater and I was hobbling along with one boot, carrying the other one in my hand.
Oh no!
We were able to make it into a showing that was 1 o'clock or something, but we had very bad seats, maybe in the front row. Yeah. So.
Set alarms if you take naps, people.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much. And
I was dressed as Grand Moff Tarkin.
Oh, perfect. Well, give a shout out to your podcast.
My podcast?
Yes.
I don't have a podcast.
Yes.
I have been on Brandon's live stream. I've never actually been blank, which is Brandon's podcast.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. It's been awesome talking. All right, guys, we're interviewing our first Mistborn here. What is your name?
Derek.
Nice to meet you, Derek. And I would love to know how this gorgeous Mistcloak is put together. I love the hood. It's got a beautiful clasp on it and just has a nice flow to it. What can you tell me about your Mistcloak?
From what I know of how it was made basically using a half cloak template for the top and then multiple slightly different colors of ribbons were overlaid and sewn inside it, and they overlap.
Oh, there's nice seaming going on in there. That's beautiful.
It's because they flow better than the usual cloth.
Yeah, it has a very nice flow. Like do a spin. Like, okay, now I have to describe that because this is an audio format. That was a good job. It flew outwards and like looked very flowy when he spun. It was perfect. Yeah. So, do you know what materials this is made out of?
Other than the ribbons, I don't.
Just based off of what I see here, I see satin fabric for the half cloak part on top and his hood. A beautiful velvet pattern, like those ones that are like crushed velvet with like the cool. I don't know what that pattern is, but it's beautifully put in there. Little tassels coming off of it. And then the mist ribbons coming off. What fabric is this? It's light and flowy. It's like it looks like lining fabric. It's very light and definitely synthetic because like it's not fraying. Except for at the very bottom, which is like very appropriate. It's good. Yeah.
Bought ribbons at the craft store. So.
Just like a ribbon at the craft store?
Yeah.
Oh, that is what it is. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm a dumb. Well, that is awesome. So which book's your favorite?
If I had to put a favorite, it had to be the original Mistborn trilogy. It's what I started with. It's a good one.
That's a good place to start. I love it. Well, thank you so much, and I hope you have a good convention. All right, I'm now here with
Melinda Hike.
And your Mistcloak is so beautiful. I really love it. Tell me about how it was created. You had a really cute story for that. If you would relay that to my...
My husband made it for our kids. This was probably... They were significantly shorter back then. Now they're taller. Probably like 6 years ago. And there wasn't really any artwork at the time. And so he just thought about what do I think it should look like. And so he put it together. He got the fabric from the store, measured the kids, appropriately sized to the tassels, and it's been in costume rotation for at least 5 or 6 years.
That is awesome. Like it's in really good shape for that. Oh my goodness, like that's amazing, especially like for making it for kids. So like what are the materials that you guys used for that?
I don't know. He just picked, I think it's kind of a...
It's a micro suede.
Micro suede.
Microsuede, yeah.
He said, I want to make it so that the fringes look different than the top. Like he cut it on a different line. So this is kind of a different gray color, but it's just how you hold the fabric. It's all the same kind of fabric. And then he just like, okay, I'm going to have some clasps. We're going to throw a hood on the back. I think he used a cloak pattern that we had. And then he said, I want big fringes. I think the little thin fringes are what, like 8 inches wide?
Yeah.
6 to 8 inches wide. And so he just said, I'm going to throw it together and ta-da.
Well, he did an awesome job. So what is it like cosplaying with your whole family and coming to events like this?
It's really fun. We've gone to Star Wars conventions in Orlando, and my husband is really big into making costumes. He did a Kaladin costume for one kid, helped him make Loki costumes, Star Wars costumes. Really, you should be interviewing my husband. I had to leave him at home. So it's just fun. It's fun to bond together and see, what do people want? What do our kids imagine that they are? Who do they see themselves as being when they read books?
Well, that's really awesome. And I'm so glad I found someone that literally created it based off of what was in the books without any references. Because now there's so many different references these days, and even input from Sanderson himself of these are the things it could be made out of. And this is really cool just to see it just come from completely your imagination, and that's beautiful. Anyways, thank you so much for your time. And we'll see you around. Right. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Daniel Passy.
And Valerie.
And your Mistcloak, this is another student that I've seen today. I love it. Will you describe for me how you got this one together?
We did a lot of internet searching and found the one that we liked the most. There was one that was, I think, kind of the most popular online one that his grandma had.
Yeah.
And I can't remember, he had used. And so we went to Joann's for fabric, this kind of heathery fleece fabric we we wanted, and bought.
Yep, and then we were trying to calculate how many strips we'd need for each layer, because I wanted to do 3 layers so that would be fuller, and so that when I moved one piece too, and so it would just be a more full cloak instead of just
lever.
Yeah, so we did 3 different layers, and so I think there's 78 strips total. And it took a really long time to cut each individual strip out because we just chalk lined across the fabric every 1.5 inches.
Yeah, we highly recommend the fabric out and doing a chalk line, a snap line, so that you can straighten.
It makes it a lot easier to cut, yeah.
I've seen those used for do stuff,
yeah.
So I love that it's use it for sewing too. Yes.
His dad has some. We were going to do a much dumber way, and his dad came.
Nice. And this was just the top bit. We folded it into fourths and cut.
It was just half.
It was cut in half, and you cut
a half.
Yeah, and then when you unfold it, it makes the circle.
The
and then we sewed each layer on, glued it on so it's so easy.
Spray adhesive stick it in place, because when we moved it to the sewing machine, we didn't want to individually pin each tassel. So we did some spray adhesive to the tassel.
And then we sewed those on, and then we put a second layer for the shoulder piece that's just exactly the same, and then sewed over it so that on both sides it is.
That's great though.
And then we just found a little wooden button at the craft store, and I crocheted chain. It's just a chain.
Oh,
of
nice!
Yarn
Yeah.
To the button.
The button loop.
The toggle. Yeah, the button loop. And then
the hood.
The hood we color and saggy fit better.
This is awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
Which book is your favorite?
Out of Mistborn or
books,
out of any
series.
of them? Oh, Wax and Wayne.
Yeah, I really like the Wax. That's what I'd go with.
And the Wax. If not trilogy anymore, 4 books.
Quad.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you guys so much.
Yeah, sure.
All right, I'm with another Mistborn group. This is really cool. Go ahead and guys introduce yourself after.
Mark Bailey. I am Kelsier.
My name is Noah Spalding. I am Elland today.
Hey.
My name is Harmony Bailey. I am Vin.
Perfect, dude. You guys look All right. So you guys told me something interesting. I didn't know this was a thing that but where did you get your guys' Mistcloaks?
I just Googled or put it on Amazon. It came up.
That's magic.
I did the same thing.
So what do you like about it?
Well, I really like it because they're remind me of Batman's capes, but they're shredded fabric, which makes them more convenient to just maneuver, I guess.
I really like the fabric because the tassels, they're really stretchy. So if it's not the right, I can just cut it. And if it's really hot outside, this fabric is it's cold sometimes. So if it's hot outside and you put it on, cold. So yeah, that's it's really good. Looks the same way. So they're just really.
Anything you like about yours?
I just basically the same thing. Yeah.
So quick note on what I'm seeing here with these they're very consistent. So Amazon, whichever creator for these, did a good job on making them very consistent. Nice and light and flowy. We've got Ellen here is swishing back and forth, and like the flow is just perfect. Say that again?
They're really easy to walk in. You sometimes don't even realize it's there until you put your arm out and like, oh, there's a cloth on my arm.
Ooh. Yeah, they actually came quite a bit bigger, so just cut them to the length wherever we were.
It's better to cut the tassels in groups. That's what I did with Cloak. It took me an hour. It took way too long. Yeah. Just cut them, like grab a group and just cut. That's easy.
There we go. We got purchasing advice there. Awesome. All right. So what is your guys' favorite book?
That's a really hard question. My dad got me Sanderson by introducing me to Skyward last year in Alaska. And I didn't know what was happening, but I just started listening, and then I started crying when the characters died, and I got attached, and then I actually started listening to it at the beginning, and we got home, and I guess I just kind of obsessed with it, and then I read Mistborn. I finished the first 3 books.
This summer, I get random texts every once in a while, Dad, why didn't you tell me that? I was like,
Another favorite of mine is the Reckoners series. Hilarious and really cool. I love all of the characters, and so well written, inspires me. It's so good.
As far as Sanderson books go, I've barely scratched the surface. I've only read the books I've fully read are Skyward, Starsight, and Mistborn. Right now I'm just like a quarter of the way into Well of Ascension, but I really like the Skyward books, and Mistborn is really good too. I like Skyward because the characters are very relatable, and it kind of, the piloting and flying kind of reminds me of Top Gun.
Awesome. That's a hard one. As far as the Mistborn world, I really like the Wax series, probably just because comedy that's involved in brilliant writing. It's really a toss-up between the Wax and Wayne series and just the Way of Kings, any of the Wings. I really liked Rhythm of War. That was when that one came out, I went back and read all of them and read Rhythm of War. Very, very, very. It's a tough,
awesome.
Kind of dependent.
So, before I leave, SoundCloud that you want to shout out.
Oh, I do. So my SoundCloud account is called Vulpix Voiceover. I do like songs and like covers of different songs. I tell stories, and it's pretty fun.
I love that. Check it out, guys. All right. Thank you. All right. I found this amazing Lessie cosplayer. For those who have read the Wax and Wayne series, Lessie is like Bae. So here is.
Hi, I'm Kaylee, and I'm from KayleeMakes.com. I am into Brandon Sanderson cosplay at the moment, and so this year I've done a couple costumes.
And if you go to that website, the costumes and the pictures on there are incredible. Like, oh, I love it. All right, so when you walked by, I actually stopped in the middle of a phone call with my mother, and I was like, I must interview this person, because your mist coat is so nice. Those mist coats, those are second generation. It is so beautiful. Tell us about what materials you've used, your process for making and designing it. Give us all the details.
Sure. So my mist coat was kind of difficult. I started from a pattern from Vogue, and I know that there's a link to a blog on my website about that. But I altered it. I left the sleeves off, I cut the bottom off, and then I made that into shreds. But I chose cotton gauze for the body of the coat, and that was kind of a mistake because it's very flimsy. It gave the kind of duster feel that I wanted, but it was really hard to work with. So I fought with it the whole time. However, I'm very pleased with the result. So after lots of alterations, lots of redoing things, and lots of tailor stitching just to hold things together, I'm pleased with it. So
yeah. So you've got some really fun details, which the listeners cannot see, but really neat details with the different coloring on it.
Yeah. So I've got some velvet trim that I've added to the edges of the coat, and I like to add visual interest. So Mistborn Era 1 is very dark. There's ash mounts. It's gray, black, kind of doom and gloom. Era 2 is more colorful, and so I wanted to bring that into this costume. Specifically, my coat is maroon, and then we have this dark teal accents And as I was sewing on, I pinned and I measured and made sure I had enough. Oh, ha, ha, ha. So when I actually sewed on the velvet trim, I was 2 inches too short.
Oh, no.
What do you do? Okay, problem solving time. So I decided to add some like velvet-looking appliques in maroon over that and add kind of like a peek through of the matching color of the turquoise. So we have like turquoise and maroon with some black outlines to hide the fact that I went to different craft stores and they did not have more ribbon and I'm doomed. So that's how we solved that problem.
Hide the doom and gloom, and I mean that's the whole point of the Wax and Wayne series. Is the doom and gloom's gone, and we got like all this awesome stuff now.
Yes, exactly.
No, that's amazing. I really love like problem solving like that, where you're like, well, we're gonna make this a happy accident.
We are, and that was definitely because it was right here on the like the front of the coat, right by my face, very visible. It wasn't like at the back where it could have been hidden by a bag or something. It was. I have to fix this, and how am I going to do that? So I got to do some applique, which was very challenging on cotton gauze, again, but I got it done.
So, question, like, what are the mist tails made out of? Like,
they're also made out of like a cotton, more cotton gauze. We have some polyester blend fabric that's woven, so you tear it and then it turns into like little tubes, and those are really fun to give a darker accent. So we've got 3 colors in here, kind of a medium rose color of the gauze. We have some like a tweed, a gray and cream, and then a medium gray of. It's really fun. It's very swishy.
Very
good,
swishy.
good for contrast. I like the movement and different colors.
And then you said yesterday you were Vin.
Yes.
So I wanna hear about the Mistcloak as well.
Okay, so Mistcloaks. This was kind of tricky because I started this costume a couple years ago, and I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I was like, what do tassels really mean? Like, are they the strips and the ribbons of the cloak, or are they little, like little tassels on a lamp or a pillow? Like, what do we do? Yes, so making a Mistcloak, I knew that I wanted to not just have the strips and ribbons of the cloak hanging down the back. I knew that I wanted to add a cowl, because that was something new that I hadn't seen before. I wanted it to kind of swoop off the shoulder. I wanted to add allomantic symbols. I love to bring the lore into the costume, so there's tons of great fan art to pull from. And I said, I like tassels, like from pillows, so I'm going to put those on the cowl too. So we just kind of mashed up all the things that I liked, and with lots of time and hand embroidery, we had successful Mistcloak.
Yeah, and the details on that are really, really fun.
Thank you.
Again, you guys can see those on her website. It's just super, super cool. Very good photos.
Yeah, so, on the cowl, I'm especially proud of that because I did hand embroidery for like misting swirl movements on the pattern. It's tone on tone, which I thought was fun. I hadn't done that before. So it's like a gray on a gray with little metallic accents. It's kind of sparkles and you move, it's nice and subtle. And then for the allomantic symbols from the lore, I did heat transfer vinyl and just did that right on it really fast and satisfying. Felt very accomplished when I got that stepped up.
So we end every episode with a cosplay horror story.
Okay.
Would you like to give a really awesome horror story?
Well, I don't know if it's awesome, but I guess
I mean, they are horror stories.
Yeah, I will share this to be an encouragement. I made some imitation glass daggers, and that's also this character Vin. But it took me 3 rounds. So the first round I made out of clay, and they looked like feathers. And that's not what I wanted. I did not want like a feathery knife. I wanted it kind of looking like obsidian dipped in glass, really rough, kind of chipped. Yeah. So first one looked like a feather, and that was, got smushed up. Okay, done with that one. So then the second round, it kind of looked like a damask seal blade, but it was rainbow. So I ended up like this rainbow knife, which was not what I was going for. So then round 3, I finally had something that resembled what I was doing. So for the knives I made for Vin's cosplay, I used a metal core, like a metal bar, to be able to be like a tang. So we're attaching the blade to the hilt, so we have a tang. I used polymer clay on top of that metal piece, and then after that I cast the whole thing in resin. So I got the rock inside of glass effect that I was looking for, and I was very happy with it. So I was just, my horror story was that I had so much failure and so many problems, and I ruined lots of pairs of clothes when I was dealing with resin, but oh well. I think it was all worth it.
Just try again. Never give up, guys.
Never give up, and I did learn a lot so I'm proud of that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Let's give a shout out to your website again.
Yep, sure. I'm at KayleeMakes.com. It's KayleeMaes. And then for my Instagram, I'm Kaylee Makes Crafts, and I really appreciate you all listening, and I'm so honored to be part of this.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, I am now here with...
Waxilium Ladrian, a.k.a. Kyle.
Perfect. And you told me you found your Mist coat on Etsy, which is like, that's so cool. I love that you can find so many resources on Etsy. I've purchased a few trinkets here and there on that. So I want to know about, like, what do you like about this particular Mist coat and your process for that? I'm going to scooch in just a little bit, if that's okay. There we go.
So I talked to 3 different makers on Etsy and gave them a bunch of art from various artists about what the jacket should look like, gave them my ideas, and saw how each of them responded. And the best people were Handmade Jacket Maker on Etsy, and they just had a trench coat that they modified for me and made it into an awesome mist coat. And then I got some revolvers from Jay's 3D print world and painted them and made them all cool. I even tried to do they have ceramic tips.
What? The bullets?
Mm-hmm.
Dude!
So I painted them ceramic.
Cool.
Yep. And yeah, the zebra thing with the onyx and ivory. And then I got this from Dark Knight Armory on Etsy.
So this is the
metal vials.
Metal vials. There we go.
And these were for potions or other things we were doing any sort of cosplay. And I just put some actual steel flakes in them. And
does it have actual whiskey?
I wanted to do one with whiskey and one with the silver flakes that you can drink, and but I didn't get time, so that was the plan.
Awesome.
And yeah, that's about it. The only thing I didn't do was get my ears. I thought about it to get the.
So, when you were given your instructions for like how the cloak should look, like what were your instructions for that? Like if someone was like, "Oh, I want to do something similar to what he has."
I told them from the hip down, they would need to cut it into ribbons about 1.5 inches in width, and then go from there. Yeah. And the art director for Dragonsteel agreed that it was the best Mistcloak and said I looked great. So, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Hey.
I caught him at the magic draft and asked. Yeah. Nope.
Excellent. That's amazing. All right. What is your favorite book?
Probably Secret History, Mistborn Secret History, but I love them all.
I still need history.
Oh, you've got to read Secret History before you read the book 7. You've got to read it.
Got it. Okay.
Do first, for sure.
All right.
Yeah, and if you want to be really blown away, read book 3 and then read Secret, and you'll reread book 3 and then read Secret History.
Okay, I'm actually almost done with book 6.
Okay.
So
if you just read book 3, then you just read Secret History, and it fills in all these gaps, and it's great. Yeah,
okay, sweet.
It's mind-shattering.
All right, thank you so much for the advice. All right, we're going to take a break from Mistcloaks for a second because I just saw this amazing group of cosplayers, and I'm like, I need to ask them questions. All right, so you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves and what character you are cosplaying as.
Hi, I'm Oliver. I'm playing Kaladin here.
I'm Sierra, and I am his Syl. I'm Madison, and I'm Yastina today.
I'm Valerie the Warrior on Instagram, and I'm as Shalon.
Excellent. You guys look amazing, and I really, really need to know how you guys put your costumes together. Like, this is super cool, and I don't know, I'm just like in awe.
So let's see, my costume primarily consists of a really beautiful embroidered jacket, which actually I was given at Burning Man. It was a random gift, and then we dyed it from white to blue, and it has this really, really lovely detail to it. And then a sash, and then the classic Bridge 4 patch, along with some, what I say lightly is poofy pants, and some of my pirate boots, actually. But it turns out really, really nice. Tomorrow, I'm going to have my crystal 8-foot light spear, which has 4,000 LEDs in it. So, but I don't have a fuse with me, so I was concerned the battery would explode. So we're gonna get a fuse tonight, and then I'm gonna bring it because powering that much LED and a piece of glass is really intense. So yeah, so come find it tomorrow.
For that. Oh
yeah.
my.
He'll probably be hard to miss. Yeah.
I'll be glowing.
Yeah. I designed and
I designed my costume myself, drafted the pattern. I knew I wanted Victorian hints, Asiatic hints, and I did asymmetrical sleeve design because I said do both. So I have one long sleeve, a glove, and a short, more Spren-esque side. And there's many layers to this costume, starting with tights that I did an ombre like dip dye from blue to white, and I pop in, and a crinoline, and a underskirt that's got turquoise silk with I think this was a curtain on top of it.
Hey, it's beautiful though.
Thank you. And then I wanted to stay warm from California, and we don't know how to do cold.
Yeah.
So I have a brushed fleece covered with like a chiffon for the dress, and then I did an underbust bodice and finished this all.
Which completely crazy.
I mean, we were sewing, and we were like, okay, we have to leave for the airport yesterday, so we're going on no sleep. Yeah.
Paid off.
Thank you.
So, Yasna.
Hi again. So, this is my first time cosplaying, so I can't say that I have a lot, but...
Oh, we are so proud of you, though. You look amazing.
Thank you. I'm a long-time Halloween costume. For my Yasna costume, I really went through like different descriptions of her and fan art, and I saw that a lot of fan art towards Eastern styles, modern styles, and I decided to go as well. So I'm wearing a caftan, and it's got gold beaded in really.
It's so beautiful.
It gives like the royal. A lot of the descriptions about Yasna talk about her hair being exquisite and sleek and well done and well thought out, and I made sure to do a lot of my hair. Yeah, anything.
You just like when I saw you, I was like, I will follow her.
Most of Yasna is her swagger, so that's really what I'm trying to pull off.
You have like that's awesome.
Like immaculate.
Yes.
Yeah. So I do not sew. I actually sewing. So I go to any length.
Good.
So I purchased these pieces. I think that's it's called. And so I just combined like a coat and a dress or a skirt that I felt like went well together. And then I took some of the material off of where the jacket is overlapped and turned it into, so that did take a little bit of and then my satchel is probably my favorite part. I just found this at a thrift and it's leather satchel.
Yeah.
And then I actually have a shaved head, so this is my red head, so that made that really easy to transform the hair. And then my hairpin, I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're fine.
It was given me it was kind of like handed down, like passed the bin from someone who has done a lot of cosplay, so that meant a lot to me to like wear it with the outfit.
Oh, I love sentimental value in stuff. That makes it like even better. You guys all look so amazing. Once again, are you guys okay saying who you are and your social medias if you want to share those? We'll go backwards this time.
Okay, so Valerie the Warrior on Instagram, and I'm as Shalon.
Hi, I'm Maddie. I'm Yas, and I'm not really on social media that much.
I'm Sierra Laird, and my sister and I are filmmakers, so we are the Laird sisters. So we're on every social media, and Laird is Laird, like the Scottish lord.
And I'm Oliver. I was Kaladin, and I don't really...
Perfect. All right, and then last question for y'all. Favorite book?
Oh my goodness. I think the first Storm has to, yeah.
I think the first Stormlight or Mistborn. Really good world build.
Stormlight's my favorite series, but my favorite book is...
I love Elantris!
Yeah.
Definitely Stormlight series. I love Words of Warbreaker. I have a soft spot for that one.
Yeah. Warbreaker's so good too. Yeah. All right. Thank you guys.
Oh, that was a lot of that was really cool.
Nice. Thank you so much for sharing these, Mercedes and Sadie, and all your thoughts from the convention.
Before we finish, I have a big fun story to tell.
Oh, okay.
So they had again, I said this is my favorite convention that I've ever been to. I was overstimulated, but in the best way possible. The only dull moments are when I chose to have dull moments. And they had these awesome tables that had charging stations at them. So I just go and chill at one of those, and it was nice and quiet. I was going around, and they had clips from Mistborn, just like video game based money kind of stuff. Or not video games, sorry. You know, like in board games, how you take and you pop out the little cardboard things, and then you got like fake money. They did that with the Mistborn coins, and you can earn them. Go ahead, Sadie.
I was going to say, when she says clips or boxings or anything like that, that's the in-universe name for their coinage. So
yeah. So if you were interacting with vendors or volunteers or helping someone, you could earn these and then take them to the prize table and get cool prizes. And so I was
Someone may have turned the convention into a little video game for themselves, I swear.
There was also a scavenger hunt where you had to look for 20 hats on the first day and then 20 more hats on the second day. And I found them all.
Wow.
Not true. I found some of them and shared them to the group post.
This is true. It was a team effort. We did work as a team to find them. And I may or may not on the second day sat down with a group of small children and was like, okay, guys, let's all compare notes. And there were clues on each hat that went to it was a QR code. And you had to like figure out the clue and the hints to find out who stole Wayne's hat and where did they hide it. It was so fun.
I'm going to panels, talking theories with other crazy nerds and things like that. And she's out running around in the hallways, doing quests for volunteers and staff members, solving riddles, and helping children.
Yep.
Just picturing Mercedes with this child army, just like her scavenger deeds.
You wouldn't be that wrong.
It was excellent.
What kind of riddles are we talking? Like, are these like themed in story riddles? I know you said that like Wayne. Who's Wayne? I read book 1 and 2, and then I got sick of it. So
yeah. So Wayne is in the second era of Mistborn. He is my favorite character. I was actually doing a kind of like cosplay version of him because if you were cosplaying, you could get more clips. So
minor warning, she may accidentally say spoilers for some readers, so just keep that in mind.
Yeah, I'm going to try and be as non-spoilery as possible, but if I do, sorry. Wayne is awesome. He's hilarious. He's what you call a twin-born. He's got multiple powers, essentially. But he has a lucky hat, and he will disguise himself as other people by trading out hats. So you can't change your face, but you can change your hat. Yes. Yes. So that's where the hats and the Wayne thing is. And somebody stole his lucky hat. You do not touch his lucky hat.
I see.
Yeah. So I was doing all that. Then I found this side quest. So the Shire Mint Post was there. And I actually backed their Kickstarter when they were first creating the coins from Mistborn. I was like, I want those coins. They're beautiful. Like, they created the designs. They are officially licensed for Mistborn, Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones. And there were a bunch of other series, too.
Mm-hmm. They specialize in fantasy coinage.
Yes. And they will actually, they're the person who runs it all, or I can't remember exactly who, but he will hand engrave on their, like, mint press things. I'm describing this terribly. The designs on them, and then they press it into the metal. It's super cool. Super cool. So they had a side quest where, as I was standing there, overstimulated, like going to everything there and trying to collect as many coins as I could, one of their employees goes, "Hey, there's these counterfeit coins that are about, and if you can collect all 7 of them," and there were 6 in circulation, so the 7th one was hard to get, you'll earn a special reward. And
this was literally a quest that none of us had heard of. It's just the con invented it, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yes, well, this table invented it. Like their booth invented it, but they were in partnership with the convention, of course, because yeah. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this quest thing. I never actually complete these. They're like, you have to hurry. 2 of them have already been claimed, and there's only 25 prizes.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, cool. I'm not gonna get that. I never get that kind of thing. But the next thing I knew, I had 6 of the 7 coins, and I was like, oh, I gotta find that elusive 7th coin. It's the irony is what they call it, the big black
Iron Eye.
coin.
Iron Eye.
Iron Eye, but it was nicknamed Irony. Okay.
Oh my god!
Yes, that's what it says on their thing. You should see it. It's great. But yeah, the Iron Eyes. Yes. I searched far and wide. I was asking volunteer after volunteer. I was getting so many clips for like talking to volunteers. And eventually I figured out, I have to talk to the actual staff of the convention. And when I figured that out, I was given a side quest from a staffer, and I had to go and ask another staff person a question, and I had to find out who they were. My only hint was their name was Joy, and they had a black shirt.
All of the Dragonsteel employees have black shirts, all of them.
Oh boy.
Yep. So I just went around to all of them going, "Are you Joy? Are you Joy?" And like my introvert self was inside going, "What are you doing?" And my extrovert self was like, This is so much. I'm going to power down when I'm done." So I got that final coin, and I went up to the Shire Mint Post, and I was like, "Here, I found all 7." And they're like, "That's awesome." And I think I was like the 6th or 7th person to get it.
Wow.
Which I was like, "Holy crap!" And they're like, "All right." So I gave them all the coins, which hurt me inside because I was like, I collected all those. And they brought out a minted iron eye. There's only 25 of them in the whole wide world.
Wow.
And I was like shaking as they gave it to me, going, "You're giving this to me?"
That's
and I'm at
incredible.
a panel, and then she suddenly starts blowing up my phone.
I was like, "Oh my gosh, I have this thing." This never
Nice.
happens to me.
Nice.
So that was like one of my highlights there. Oh my gosh. Again, overstimulated, super fun. They had a museum of curiosities where you could see things like artifacts from each book. There was like secret art reveals for the 4 secret book projects that Sanderson released for the Kickstarter.
Wow.
There was so many different things, and I avoided most of the panels. Yeah.
Yeah, she avoided like the spoiler panels where where I and other audience members got to like ask the author questions that pertain to like future books and projects. And then also got readings from future books or projects. So I know what's going to happen in a few chapters of Stormlight 5.
Also, if you've never played Quiplash with 500 people in the audience,
oh wow,
it was impressive.
It was really cool.
So we like to end on a horror story, and Sadie, you said you had one for us from this con.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
Do you want to tell it to us?
Yes, I'm still dealing with the aftermath of this, but like,
oh no,
I have done day 4 of conventions for me, day 1 for everyone else, and I've already had too much excitement this con. Like, literally during one of my magic events, I found out that my opponent was a nurse. Because literally the person behind her started having a seizure and she whipped around and saved his life. So that was panic attack number 1 of this last weekend. Yeah, she's a hero. And like, that was amazing. But I was also like, oh my God. So anyways, Sanderson Con is happening. Exciting things are going on. We get done with the day and we're walking back to my car and Mercedes gets to it first. And she looks back at me and she's like,
I go, and I at this moment am regretting that I did not bring my coat because I was trying to get to her car really fast because I didn't take my coat that night and I was freezing. And I was like, "Sadie, I think your window is broken."
Oh no.
Oh my
Someone had smashed the window of my car and probably to burglarize my car, but they didn't take anything or rifle any papers. They just smashed the window and ran. It did damage to my door. And so I'm just panicking in the parking lot.
Oh my God.
Panic attack number 2. And then Mercedes being as smart as she was, she's like, "It's okay, we got this." And she gets a blanket from my back seat and manages to like stick it between the door and the window, and like we tuck it in between the car seat and the door. And yeah, I drive home like an hour and a half on back roads.
You say Mercedes is being smart, but also I'm the idiot who reached into the car to move the glass.
Oh yeah, you did cut your hand open already,
Mercedes.
Yeah. Only minorly. It was fine. I didn't notice I was bleeding until we got home, and Sadie's like, "Oh my gosh, whoever broke into the car bled on the door." And then I opened my hand and I go, "No, that was me."
Mercedes.
I'm just like, Mercedes, why?
No.
So yeah, they totally, and they had to hit my window hard because there was shattered glass everywhere in the car.
Oh yeah.
So make sure that if you are parking at a convention, do your best to try to park in somewhere that is well lit
and safe.
Preferably patrolled by security.
Oh, scary. Well, thank you for sharing. If our listeners at home have some scary stories or fun stories from cons they'd like to share with us, you can send those to us at cosplaystitchandseam@gmail.com or
you can go to our website, cosplaystitchandseam.com, and send us a message through our forms on there. I'd love to see more Mistcloaks. I am obsessed and want to make my own for next year.
You mean make us one?
Yes.
I want one too. We got a match.
Heck yes. Or
go to the Facebook page. And while you're on the Facebook page, make sure that you join our fantastic community. Join our Work in Progress Wednesdays, our Finished Fridays, whatever you want to share. We would love to see it. And if you're not a big fan, we do have our Discord on the website. You can find a link there or the pinned tweet on our Twitter account. While you're on the internet, if you want to give us a shout out or help us out in any capacity, we always appreciate that. We don't pay to advertise. We only go by word of mouth. So if you can share the podcast with a friend, that means a lot. Leave us a review. That helps the algorithm. And if you have a few bucks to help keep the lights on, keep paying for our website and hosting fees, we do have a Patreon, patreon.com/cosplaystitch. Some of those amazing people are Tim Yoke, Wanderboy Cosplay, Trough Cos, Lydia, Rose Does, Yggdrasil, Dr. Steggy, PB and James, Cynics, Hot Riku, Renamira, Jazzy Kofed, Jaguar Quinn, Gloria Shu, Sudi, Shock H, and Silver Deeds.
Don't forget to check out Fox Beauty Cosmetics and their amazing line of D&D themed products, and also just amazing cosplay makeup products or products for your everyday wear. And that's at foxbeauty.store. You can use the promo code Stitch and Seam to get 10% off your purchase of all vegan, not tested on animal products. Sorry for that pause. Thanks once again to Macy Roberts for the use of her music as our theme song, and of course to David Jeffress for his amazing editing. How are those podcasts going, David?
They are going so stinking great. Last Voice Season 2 is done. I'm currently writing Season 3 as we speak. It's so freaking good. I'm so proud of this. It's definitely a new direction, but I feel like that's a good show. It takes it into a new direction every single time. So go make sure that you catch up to Season 2 of The Last Voice. And if you enjoy more of a book club and you want your pictures in your books, there are plenty of pictures in Comic Trades Monthly, where me and my co-host talk about comic books and the meaning that you can draw out of them, the morals of the story, if you will. Recently, we talked about V for Vendetta, and we will be talking about Berserker by Keanu Reeves for the month of December. So go and check that out.
Nice. That sounds exciting.
He wrote a thing?
Well, he's one of the co-writers. He's the big ideas man, and then they have someone helping fill in the gaps.
That's so cool.
Dang. So guys, with how many books Brandon Sanderson has written, like I can't even count. But if you got them all, would you say it's a lack of shelf control?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Bye guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye.